What happens when a system built on dreams begins to close its doors? For millions of Filipinos, the U.S. has always been more than a destination. It's a symbol of hope and opportunity. Families have been built across borders, raised on the promise of the American dream. But today, that promise feels uncertain. Immigration rules are shifting, pathways narrowing. The foundation of U.S.-Philippine migration is being tested like never before. So what changed? And what does this mean for Filipinos today? Welcome to Now Leo Know, your go-to for fun facts and insights. In today's video, we'll explore how immigration changes are reshaping Filipino lives tied to the U.S. From student visas to green cards, the stakes are high for those dreaming of a future here. A tightening web of reforms is reshaping the future for Filipinos in America. Once welcoming pathways are now under scrutiny, impacting families and careers. These changes reflect a broader shift toward merit-based policies fragmenting families. Filipinos vital to the U.S. workforce now face a cold bureaucracy. This is a human story, not just political. Nurses, parents, retirees are all affected. For Filipinos, it's no longer just about visa approval. It's about recognition and value. This is the new reality of immigration for Filipino communities across the globe. Family reunification, once a cornerstone of U.S. immigration policy, is being dismantled. New proposals threaten to slash family-sponsored green cards significantly. The story has shifted from one of hope to one of limitation. Plans aim to cut legal immigration by over half. Categories that once allowed siblings and extended relatives to reunite are being targeted for removal. For Filipino families, this change risks separating generations, leaving elderly parents without care and children without familiar faces. The new framework favors highly skilled workers, but it overlooks the emotional ties that bind Filipino families. Immigration is more than just a labor issue. It's about connection and identity. Legal immigrants face rising fees and reduced benefits, making compliance increasingly costly. What was once a path to permanence now feels like a precarious tightrope over uncertainty. Filipino nurses and caregivers who supported the U.S. healthcare system are now told their value is conditional. This isn't just a policy change, it's a redefinition of purpose that many feel excludes them. Immigration authorities are becoming more aggressive, with enforcement actions quietly expanding. Green card holders, once seen as permanent residents, are now detained for minor issues. Even a simple trip abroad can trigger investigations, leaving older immigrants vulnerable. Many have lived here for decades, contributed to their communities, yet safety is no longer guaranteed. Stories of detainment are becoming alarmingly common for Filipinos with clean records. The message is clear. Permanence is now conditional. Families live in fear of sudden changes that could alter their lives overnight. Children worry about their parents, while parents fear separation from their kids. Community leaders urge immigrants to stay informed and vigilant about their rights. Preparation may not be enough in a system that seems to change the rules at will. It's no secret the U.S. has long relied on Filipino talent to fill essential roles. From hospitals in rural towns to long-term care facilities in urban centers, Filipino workers are the quiet engine-powering parts of the American economy. Over 200,000 Filipino nurses are currently practicing across the country, representing nearly 4% of all U.S. nurses. Their impact isn't just visible, it's vital. Yet, even with this deep contribution, Filipino healthcare professionals are now seeing doors close. The very visas that once welcomed them are being reconsidered. The same can be said for educators, caregivers, and service workers. The push for merit-based immigration sounds promising in theory, but when merit becomes narrowly defined, many qualified Filipinos are left out. Experience, loyalty, and cultural compatibility don't show up in a scoring model, and so a contradiction unfolds. America needs Filipino workers, yet policies increasingly tell them they're unwelcome. It's a dissonance that's hard to ignore. The U.S. cannot afford to lose this talent, but it may if reforms continue down their current path. Remittances are the lifeblood of many Filipino families and the Philippine economy. Overseas Filipinos send home billions each year, acts of love, duty, and survival. The U.S. is the largest source of these remittances, funding education, healthcare, housing, and daily needs for relatives back home. It's money that keeps communities afloat and dreams alive, making up over 8% of the Philippines' total GDP. That's not small change, it's structural support, classrooms, hospital beds, and hot meals. But tighter U.S. immigration rules mean fewer visas, fewer jobs, and ultimately fewer remittances. It's a chain reaction that could destabilize entire regions in the Philippines, especially those most dependent on overseas income. The United Nations has found that even a 10% increase in remittances can reduce poverty in a country by over 3%. To threaten the livelihood of millions on both sides of the ocean is to underestimate the power of migration, not just as movement, but as a lifeline. Advocates, lawyers, and community leaders are coming together to raise awareness about immigration shifts affecting our communities. Across the U.S., Filipino communities are hosting town halls, legal clinics, and webinars to educate families and prepare for change. Grassroots efforts are thriving in cities like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, and Honolulu, where voices are being amplified. From students to seniors, everyone is sharing stories, writing to lawmakers, and mobilizing campaigns for their rights. Legal organizations are stepping up, offering free consultations and filing assistance for those facing visa complications. Churches and cultural centers are becoming vital hubs for information sharing and mutual aid. Filipino Americans are using their voices online, through social media, podcasts, and digital platforms to spread awareness. The goal isn't just to protest, it's to protect families from being blindsided by policy changes. In a time when immigration policy shifts overnight, staying informed is survival. Even small mistakes can lead to major consequences. This is the reality thousands of Filipinos face today. Green card holders are now under new scrutiny, creating anxiety across households nationwide. Social media is buzzing with questions about eligibility and application statuses, but clear answers are scarce. In cities like Seattle, Houston, and San Diego, law firms are seeing a surge in consultation requests from Filipino clients. Knowledge is the first line of defense, but with changing rules, being ready to act is crucial. In this volatile climate, every move counts. Applying for renewal early and keeping documents up to date have become survival tools for Filipino immigrants. Some families are delaying international travel, fearing complications during routine inspections. Others are seeking dual citizenship as insurance against shifting legal status. Lawyers suggest exploring every legal avenue available, from adjustment of status to asylum. For those already in the U.S., the time to act is now. Local advocacy networks are urging Filipinos to make their voices heard during policy debates. Participating in town halls and supporting immigrant-friendly candidates are vital. The lesson from 2025 is clear. Preparation and awareness can define a family's fate. Filipino immigrants now face a reality where every decision matters, legally, emotionally, and economically. Remaining passive is no longer an option. Despite the rising fear and bureaucratic tightening, one truth remains. Filipino immigrants have always risen above the odds. They've crossed oceans, survived red tape, outlasted politics, and persevered with dignity and pride. Today, a storm may be gathering, but communities are not powerless. Leaders, families, and even first-generation youth are stepping up. They're organizing, educating, donating, and advocating for themselves and for those still hoping to follow. It's not too late. Immigration policy may evolve, but so can the people who navigate it. Hope now lies in action, knowing the law, electing leaders who see migration as a strength, and building alliances beyond cultural lines. Filipino Americans have built hospitals, cared for the elderly, taught children, launched businesses, and paid taxes for decades. That legacy deserves protection, not just in words, but in laws. To the policymakers shaping the next immigration chapter, this is more than a system. It's about souls, families, futures. And to every Filipino caught in this moment, your story is worth defending. Let this be a call to vigilance, but also to courage. The path ahead is uncertain, but the spirit that carried millions across borders can still carry them through. Because this fight isn't just about paperwork, it's about people. And the future is still worth fighting for. If this story inspired you or even made you think, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more powerful insights like this. Your voice matters. Let's keep this conversation going and let's grow together.